My name is Robert Young. I'm a professor of chemistry at Simon Fraser University. 25 years ago, when I was working at Merck, I had the privilege of working with Gideon Rodan, who in those days was a world-renowned guru of bone research. And he was very keen to understand how prostaglandins stimulate bone formation and if that might be useful in developing a drug that would stimulate bone formation.
Mesentech exists because when Bob was working at Merck, Merck, of course, was the developer of Fosamax, and they were working on a follow-on drug called odanacatib. This drug was going to be the next generation of osteoporosis drugs over a period of 3 years, and in that time, they discovered a slight increase in strokes.
It's in fact very difficult to get drugs effectively into bone. For that reason, treating diseases in the bone tends to be problematic. You often have to use high doses, which then will impact the rest of the body in order to get a significant or useful dose into the bone.
Mesentech's first product is a bone-targeted anabolic.
Our compounds target and bind to bone and then release the active ingredient which stimulates bone formation. I joined Simon Fraser University and I decided to revisit the EP4 receptor as a potential treatment for bone formation and osteoporosis. And so we decided, in fact, to take these highly selected compounds that had the side effects, but see if we could perhaps, again, target them to bone.
And so we are able, for example, to pick up drugs that had cardiovascular side effects or even cardiotoxicity in certain cancer drugs, conjugate them to our bone targeting platform and deliver them specifically in bone. Why does this matter to patients? By the time people are diagnosed with a bone loss disease, they've already lost an enormous amount of bone. What patients and their physicians care about is, can we reverse the bone that has already been lost in a safe way? On a product development standpoint, we do have 3 ways that the company can succeed. One, of course, being osteoporosis, if we do have a favorable profile and a partner willing to take on that clinical development program. The second is the rare disease indications that are Duchenne muscular dystrophy and brittle bone disease, osteogenesis imperfecta. It's a congenital disease. It's by a genetic defect in the collagen that is used to make up the structure of bone. And the third is using the compound in bone graft substitute material.
So one very interesting aspect of this technology, as I've mentioned, our compounds target and bind to bone and then release the active ingredient which stimulates bone formation. We can take bone powder or bone material and pre-bind the drug onto that material, and in that case it's very stable, and then can be implanted into wherever you wish bone to grow in your body. And in that sense, it could be useful for instance, spinal or joint fusions, stimulating bone formation, or other prosthetic implants, such as dental implants or hip implants.
So Mesentech is financed through the end of IND-enabling studies, and we should be done the IND process by the end of March of 2021. Our financial partner is a global pharmaceutical company that has a couple of rights related to this program, but for the most part, this program is still unpartnered. Our plan for the clinical phase is to conduct a phase 1 study in osteopenic volunteers. This is going to be very similar to romosozumab's first-in-human study. At the completion of a positive phase 1 trial, we hope to run 2 phase 2 programs, one of them in adult osteogenesis imperfecta, and the second in pediatric Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
In that disease, bones are not necessarily targeted by the muscular dystrophy, but because of the inactivity and the difficulty in the muscle strength, the bones tend to waste at the moment in the midst of the preclinical work, toxicology, manufacture, etc. And we're looking forward with great anticipation to next year when we hope to show that the compounds work in humans as well as they do in rats. We do have a project now underway with a collaborator in Houston and with the NASA science group. When astronauts go into space, They, of course, don't have any weight on their bones. They're weightless. Because of that, their bones tend to waste. So we believe our drug will have the benefit potentially of growing or at least maintaining bone strength in space.